Hey, folks, again, good evening, and thank you for joining us here this evening. Let me just stop the screen share for one moment here. I just wanted to go into full screen first of all. And okay, here we go. Okay, folks, well, thank you for joining us here this evening. And the call that we wanted to do, Tammy and I, today is in line to really the foundation as to why many of us, or should say some of us, have done so well in network marketing. And we want to share with you some of the concept that Tammy and I have been applying, but not just concept we've been applying. I really consider them as constants in the basic foundation of leadership. And the training we want to share with you is a training that we have been conducted before, but we've just, again, as we keep evolving and developing your skills, we always add content that maybe we didn't really thought about in the past when we were delivering this material. So we're very always grateful that you guys are taking the time to attend these trainings. Again, they are recorded, and you can certainly take advantage of them by going to activeteamtraining.com. As you understand, we have many playlists because there's so many content that we've been doing in the past 16 years or so. Just look for Go for Diamond webinar, and it's always the most recent one at the top. You can always look at the training there if there's some content that you want to listen to again or pass it on to one of your downline. This is the kind of training that I truly believe that if it's being passed down to your organization, it may actually shed the light in some of your leadership or some of the people in your team that may choose to lead that could actually have a significant impact within your organization. Before I start sharing the screen, Tammy, do you want to add a few points?
Yeah, I think we all go through stages in our network marketing profession where we really have to sit back and evaluate where we're at. And, you know, I was sitting here looking at the PowerPoint because it's been a while since we've done this PowerPoint, Chris, and it really inspired me to want to be more, do more. And you're going to see as we go through this, because sometimes we need to go back to the basics, you know, go back to the vision and the excitement of what got us here in the first place. And I was just looking at the book with John C. Maxwell, Developing the Leader Within. This is 2.0, but there's an original one. I think that one's in Florida, but it's constantly working on yourself and developing yourself, because if you're not developing as a person, you're not developing as a leader, then you're going to have a difficult time getting anybody to take you serious. And I know that myself personally, I still work a lot on it, but I've been working on personal development for so long. And I know that a lot of you have as well. So this training will be a refresher for some of you. This training will really impact many of you. So
and just before we start, I always like to welcome all of you on Facebook Live here. Certainly appreciate you. I know many of you, I don't see the names, but I see there's people joining in from the Philippines. We'll see you guys very soon. Okay, so let's get started. What we want to talk about today, in line of developing the leader within, we want to talk about rating your leadership. This is something that's very important. We're going to spend a few minutes there. And I really hope that if you do come back to this training, that you actually go and take this inventory, because you're, I mean, you know yourself, and I think you'll get a good feel for how would you rate your leadership, right? And then we'll talk about the 5 different levels of leadership. And I know you've heard this before, but just stay tuned, because again, as Tammy and I evolve, as we constantly learn and evolve, there's always new content that we're going to share within the same slides, right? So we'll talk about the 5 levels of leadership, and then we'll talk about transcending your leadership. How do you pass this on to someone else? And the next step is the 6 principles to build a strong team. You might recall that Tammy and I had done a training. It's even part of her book that's actually behind me over there, the Freedom Formula, which is the 12 principles of building a solid foundation. We extracted 6 of those 12 principles that we figured are really the foundation to building a strong organization. Folks, as you know, there's been a lot of challenges within our organization within the past 3 years because of everything that's going on. But despite that, we're still having a very solid income. You know, it's very strange for some, but there's a reason why this is like that. There's principles that we've been applying in building a strong foundation, and we want to share that with you. And if you apply this, it may have a strong impact within your organization and your business. And of course, at the end, we'll share a little inspirational message. There's a few little videos we want to share with you, which we believe, you know, can hit home like it did for Tammy and I.
All right, you ready for this, you guys? Write these down, take a screenshot, whatever it is, take time to reflect on it. But I love this picture, you know, the boss environment and then the lead, who's leading the teams, right? So why would people want to follow you? Ask yourself that question. Why would anybody want to follow me in network marketing? Why would anybody even want to follow me? Write down some of the things that you possess in characteristics, in your abilities, your skills, mindset, whatever it is, that people would want to follow you. Why would anybody want to follow you? You know, I read through these questions and it was like, wow, you know, it kind of hits home. Because you know, we're going through different stages in you know, especially since the pandemic, we've all kind of gone through a lot, right? So these were really, really great for me to evaluate on my own personal leadership, but you need to step back sometimes and look at that. And it'll be an eye-opener for everybody who is being honest with themselves. Are you a person who leads with excellence? I'm talking now. I'm not talking your past. I'm talking right now. Are you a person who leads with excellence? Number 3, how would your associates and leaders rate you in your leadership? You know, often we tend to put ourselves, you know, on we're doing a great job, but sometimes we need to step back and ask other people, you know, are we leading them well? And it all begins with how we lead ourselves. And we're not leading ourselves well, how the heck are we ever going to lead anybody else well? You know, so these are I just love these questions. Total eye opener. Number 4 is, are you leading associates that don't want to be led? This is a big one, you guys. Beating a dead horse. Like, are you leading people who don't want to be led? You need to ask yourself these questions. Find out who wants to be led. You can't lead somebody who doesn't want to be led. Yet we care so much about people, and we want so much for people to thrive. And we do everything it takes to see that through at our end. I'm talking about you guys too, at your end. You guys know who you're leading. And do they really want to be led? Sometimes you just got to let go. There's a lot of new people that want to be led. Lots of new people out there that are dying to find somebody who they could look up to lead them. So write down these questions, take time to really reflect on all of these questions. And we'd love to connect with all of you who are serious about this and have a discussion on yourself answering these questions, because it is interesting.
I agree. And folks, you're probably noticing that Tammy and I are deciding this year to get closer to Eric's model, because we find that there's so much similarity to what he does and what we do. We come from the same era of how we've been building. And I really recommend that you take part of those, because we want to help you in 2023, moving to 2024, and really elevating your income. But for that to happen, there are some principles. There's a training that we've sent recently. It's around $17. It's so inexpensive because I do understand that Eric's training often are expensive, but this one is inexpensive. And it really condensed to the basic, what you need, the basic details that you need to really be successful. So I do recommend you get into this, and then we'll invite you to be part of a Facebook group that is just starting right now. There's about, I think about 13 or 14 people in there. I'd like to have about 30 to 50 and eventually 100, and really start, kind of elevating. So take advantage of those, because it's not going to be a session where we're going to be repeating what Eric is teaching. We're going to be creating an accountability and an environment to exchange and evolve and try things and so forth. So again, as a side note, that's what leadership is all about, and that's what we want to share by example. We want to teach by example by doing the things. So we're going to be very close to a lot of things that he does. Now, the next slide, before I shift it, it's a little video that really represents the difference between a leader and someone that may not see themselves as a leader, which is a tiny, tiny little difference of 1 degree. So just pay attention to this video, and then we'll follow through from there. And I hope that you get the message here, folks, is companies don't succeed, folks, in our industry. It's people that succeed. And you need to understand that. And often people always hope that the company is going to come with the solution. They're going to come with, the next shiny thing to help us grow. Absolutely not. It's all about you and your leadership and the part you choose to take in leading your organization, leading your team. And the fact here is so many of you have all the skills. You may not realize it, but you do. But one thing that will elevate your leadership is the understanding that we do more as a team than trying to work individually. And often, we notice in this business, people try to build this business individually. Okay, here we go. Sorry, the screen didn't want to move. People tend to try to build this business all on their own. Tammy and I have done a training way back. And recently we've done one also on third-party credibility, which is part of the follow-up process. And in the training, we talked about the impact of utilizing or leveraging someone else to complement your effort, to be able to add more information and from someone that maybe had more experience or more success, and you're teaming up. And that's kind of that was the message of the video, right? So the donkey basically by himself probably wouldn't want to really push, but thinking he was part of a team because he's almost blind, he doesn't know who's there, right? You know, the analogy here, he thought because he was part of a team that he just went to work. And this is a really important message that will breed leadership, that will encourage leadership, knowing that you're not alone. So again, keep that in mind. As you build your business, you're not alone. It's not that you need someone to do it for you or to solve your problems. Is you need someone to know that you're not alone building this. And you're leveraging from third-party credibility, it's probably the closest thing to this, right? Coming to these calls together as a team, all of these things, you know, when we have an event, coming together and we see each other, right? And part of an event, you feel that, you know, part of a team, you're not alone. This is really, really, really important. Now, what we're going to talk about now is the 5 levels of leadership. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, Chris and I, we were fortunate to spend, well, we took a year course with John C. Maxwell. It started initially with a 3-day weekend, which we end up buying into the year. And we learned a ton of stuff with John C. Maxwell. We just happened to be there when he was filming his course on the 5 levels of leadership. So we were sitting in the audience and we got this training throughout that weekend. And it's all about leadership. It really is. And it starts with leading you first. So I highly recommend to pick up that book, Developing the Leader Within, because that's going to help you a lot to work on yourself in developing what it takes to be a leader, number one. But this talks about the different levels of leadership. And I've read this a few times. I've got the audiobook and it's really, really good. And it's understanding the different levels of leadership. Number one being the position leader. We're going to go through those with different slides. And number 2 is the permission leader. Number 3 is a production leader. 4 is a people development leader. And of course, 5 is the pinnacle. It's obviously a combination of all of them. And you'll learn about that. So we're going to go through the 5 of them because I think that it's really important to share a little bit about them. And of course, always learning, always growing, always learning, always growing. You know, don't waste your time watching TV when you can work on things that you could develop yourself to become a great, successful leader in the industry. So, yeah. So let's go ahead, Chris, and start with the position.
Yeah, and one thing if I may suggest, is buy the audio book.
Yes.
You can, if you have an Apple iBook or even on Amazon or whatever it is that you're using, buy the audio version because it's really, really informational and inspiring actually to listen to John C. Maxwell as he goes through the different levels of leadership. And I highly recommend the audio versions. Phenomenal. And the very first one is a position leader, right? That's the kind of leader that will impose rules based on their position. It's very difficult for me not to be political here today. So, you know, that's the kind of leader that will impose the law, that will impose the rules based on the position that he has at the moment. Not because necessarily you know, he's earned it. Maybe once upon a time he might have done something to earn it, but you know, sometimes what happens, we see that within the government employee environment, or even the traditional business job environment, right? The person that is actually your manager or your boss, right? There are simply have a position of power because of the power that was given to them, not always because they've earned the position. So that is the lowest level of position, of leadership level that you can ever have. And of course, sometimes people try to build a business like this, and maybe that they've had some success within the corporate world, but they were in a different environment that had a bit of a bubble, right? Maybe they've done a great part, or they've done well in their education. They got the great job because of their education and everything else. But there's a lot of different skills, there's a lot of different aspect of leading. And in network marketing, sometimes people have success in the corporate world. They come back here and they don't have that success. Sometimes they see absolutely no results because they haven't really developed the skills of leadership that are necessary to get people following.
So this is when we get more into working together, the permission leader. People follow you because they want to. They follow you because you have vision. They follow you because you're leading by example. They follow you because you're committed. You're committed to the purpose. You're committed to the team, whatever it takes. And that's the permission leader. And you see that out there often where people are following different leaders. Well, that's because they bring value and they care. They care. And they want to see their team members thrive. So that is a positional or permission leader in itself.
Yeah, and there's a lot of relationships that are built within that leadership, right? And that's the reason why it's like the people are allowing you to lead them because of the relationship and the respect that you've given them, that are giving you back. Absolutely correct. And this is a production leader. See, people follow you because of what you have done for the organization. You can see all these faces here, right? These people have done some great things, right? Nelson Mandela and Steve Jobs and Mother Teresa and Oprah and Elon Musk and Martin Luther King. I mean, the things that they have done have impacted the world. So people will follow them. They will respect them because of what they have done for, in this case, we're talking about the organization, right? So that's that kind of leader. This is leader level 3. Leadership level 3. So we talked about 1, position, 2, permission, and 3 is production.
And then there's the people development leader. People follow because of what you've done for them on mentorship, on support, on just being there and listening sometimes when people are going through difficult times. And people will follow people who are working with them and constantly elevating them and developing them. So this is an incredible skill set to develop people. I know we've been doing this for so many years, and it's been more joy than anything else is watching people grow into leaders and watching them go up the ranks and watching them getting their first paycheck and just seeing them evolve in so many ways. It just makes you want to do more as a leader. So people will follow, people will help them and guide them to where to the direction that they need to go to get to what they want to achieve. It depends on what, the skill set, mindset, whatever it is that person needs to develop. And if you're there and you're guiding them, they're going to be there with you all the way.
So when you look at the 4 levels of leadership we talked about, is you see what's happening? It's evolving, right? 1 is you're a producer. People are noticing that you're reaching rank, you're moving up. And next thing you know, you're part of a training and you're training people, right? These are all the things that people watch. And as they see you in action, their respect for you is increasing. And the last point is the pinnacle, right? These are people that will follow you because of who you are and what you represent. You can't be considered as a pinnacle leader level 5 without going to level 1, 2, 3, and 4, because it's part of the evolving. 1 is you've done well, you have a position. 2 is now that you have a position, now you're starting to connect with others and just respect and teach and share. But that is that permission, I want you to lead me because of, because of the respect that you show for others. And next thing you know is, I want you to lead me because of what you have accomplished, what you've done. And I want you to lead me because, you're constantly helping the team and others to develop. And level 5 is a combination of all of it. Is you sit back and you will find that often the best leaders are very quiet, right? Everybody talks, everybody shares their opinion. And those big leaders are going to sit back and they're going to wait. They're going to listen to what everybody says. And from that point on, then you're going to turn around and give their opinion that now is balanced between what was communicated. So it's a different level of leadership. And again, you graduate into these levels of leadership. And this is how you become a leader. And many of you are leaders. You may not recognize it, but that's because you've never really kind of extended your voice, the power of your voice. And you have all of these skills and you've done these things, but you need to own it. And that's what the session is about tonight, is for you to recognize some of the steps that are necessary. Now, what we want to talk about is, now that we talked about the 5 different levels of leadership, we want to talk about how you transcend to other leaders. How do you transcend your leadership? How do you pass it down to someone else? So
we're going to go through
that was you, Tammy, right? Sorry.
Yeah,
Okay,
so we're going to go through 6 different steps in the 6 E's. First, we're going to talk about envision, engagement, how to embody information, a message, empower, which is absolutely huge. People follow people who are empowering and help others to become that. And then number 5 is to constantly evaluate. That's something that we do often, Chris and I. We sit back and we evaluate. And of course, encourage. Number 6 is to keep encouraging the people around you.
And the envision part 1 is, it's a practice of envisioning the future. Whatever I do, whatever project I'm into, that Tammy are into, we always envision the possibilities. What direction are we taking, and what is in store?
All friggin' day, really?
Yeah.
Okay, am I missing something?
No, we're good.
Was that only me that was hearing a voice?
No, it's good, Chris. I muted
Okay.
her. It's good.
Okay, so what it is, it's a practice of envisioning the future, and this is really important as a leader. Is you need to help others to envision the possibilities. Right? What should tomorrow look like for your team, for your organization, for their life, for your life? And there's a saying that I really respect, is where there is no vision, people perish. If people don't see an exit strategy where the possibility of what this will do, how this will impact my life, well, what's happening is people are not going to stick around. So it's very important to always envision the possibilities. And that's the first part, very important. And as you're doing this with your team is learning from that. And in turn, they will duplicate the process. We'll come back to the duplication process later on. But that is really, really, really important, is to share the vision, envisioning, and having others to be able to see what you see.
Yeah, and take the time to work on this as well, this exercise on envisioning, and start to envision something bigger than where you're at right now. I know that pandemic has been very difficult, but we need to focus on where we're going and not where we are or what happened yesterday. We always need to be evolving and growing. Okay, so sometimes we have to sit back and start getting back into that. And of course, once you know where you're going, then it's all about engaging. Right? So it's about developing that vision even bigger and going out there and doing whatever it takes, engaging other people to share their voice, their perspective, their dreams, their desires. It's to engage everybody else in the process. And when you do that, then as a team, you're going to go far. And people always support what they create. So everybody needs a voice in moving forward, in growing as an organization, setting team goals, setting rank goals together as a team. So all of these things are going to create that, campaigns, all these things are going to create that movement for people to move forward. And I found in our profession that people tend to do more when we're together as a group. People will give more into a campaign when we create it as a group. So all these things is about togetherness, and it's about supporting your people and helping them see the bigger vision and getting them engaged in the process and working their game plan. And when you're there, people will move. People will do more for you at the beginning than they'll actually do for themselves, and until they start recognizing what they're doing in leading their people.
I totally agree. And the other one is embodying your message with integrity. This is really important. People remember what you've done 10 years ago. They remember what you've done a year ago, 6 months ago, last week. And embodying your message with belief, the 4 core belief, and commitment. When you show commitment, you show belief, and you share with integrity. Again, people will be inspired, and that's what you're looking for as you share the message. Again, you have your vision, and then from your vision, then at this point you were engaging, right, on the activities of developing the vision. And then after that, you will embody the message, right? That the level of belief that you have and in the vision and the integrity. When you say you're going to show up for a training, you show up for a training. You don't make any excuses why you can't attend, right? And you commit. Commitment is very, very important. And the fact here is that you don't believe the message. This is very important, unless you believe in the messenger. And it goes back to the 5 levels of leadership. As you increase your level of leadership from 1 to 5, people tend to believe in you. They believe in what you represent. All of that is based on the foundation of good leadership. And this is one of the reasons I stated earlier. I mean, the reason why the team is still in some cases thriving in some different markets, they believe, and the foundation has been established. And I'm telling you, folks, that as we come across all these little roadblocks, once it's open and everything goes clear and it flows, I'm telling you, you're going to see some massive things. I think in 2024 is going to start. 2025, you're going to see some major changes. Some of the wealthiest people in the world are going to be created within the next 2 to 3 years. There's a lot of stuff that are happening, a lot of changes that are happening. A lot of people are adapting. So embodying the message with integrity, belief, and commitment is absolutely critical.
And of course, empowerment, always empowering people to learn new skills, to increase their knowledge, increase their skills. Learning technology. Oh my gosh, I think I've learned so much in the last 5 years with Canva, with social media, like different things that I had never really tapped into before. Technology, Zoom, doing your own presentations, all of these things, trainings, learning and adapting through different training platforms. There's all kinds of things that has improved over the last few years. I know when we were traveling all the time, we didn't put all of this content together. We didn't have time. Like, we were able to do a lot of things and to be able to provide a lot of things in the last 5 years. I think, Chris, you and I really have put a lot of stuff out there, and which has empowered a lot of people. You know, just this session alone is now on Facebook Live, so other people are seeing this. Not just everybody who's in the Zoom session, but other people are seeing it, plus the recordings that are happening. So it's to be able to empower people to become more, to be more, to do more, to have more, and always evolving and growing.
Agreed. So the last point that's important here, as we keep moving forward here, is again, evaluate. Paying attention to evaluate where and we are as a team, right? How are we doing as a team? Are we being ethical? I have never seen a problem within our organization here. You guys are phenomenal. Are we performing? Well, these are things that you have to ask yourself. Are you doing what you should be doing? Are you performing, right? Are you progressing? Are you evolving? If there's a challenge with a software or a product or a delivery, or are you evolving in solving whatever situation you may come across, or you're always handicapped by the problem and you can't move an inch until someone does it for you? So the point here is always evaluating who you are as a person and also as a team. And very important as we are sharing and evolving is it's to give this honest, immediate, constructive feedback. You know, if someone is doing something that you know could improve upon, and I know that I'm always open, right? I know, Josh, you know, when my English is not the best, and I'm always very welcoming and receptive whenever you turn around and says, Chris, I would fix that, I would do that, perfect, thank you, and I absorb it. Right. And same thing, if I see someone that could evolve in doing something better, I will tell them. And it's never to get offended, because the intentions are honorable. But what's important is, as you share the information to help someone from maybe from, something they're trying to accomplish, is a sandwich effect, right? Starts with a compliment, and then you give the constructive feedback, and then you finish it with another compliment. It's a beautiful sandwich. So people feel good after you've giving them the feedback, right? If someone sometime are doing a presentation for the first time, they're super nervous. The last thing they want is someone criticizing them, but acknowledge what they've accomplished and how they went about it, and the effort and the delivery. And then you can turn around and give the constructive feedback, and then finish with, again, I really, really appreciate the effort, and you did absolutely phenomenal. And as we keep evolving together, I get goosebumps and seeing what you can accomplish over time. You know what I mean? So I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, but it's always evaluating as a team, and to always be in a positive mindset, positive note.
And the last one is encourage, and always encouraging people to grow, to evolve, to learn new skills, to get organized, whatever it is, and do this out of honor and respect and love for people, because we all are learning. Every single one of us, every single day, there's something new that we can all grow from. And the key is to be that person that when somebody gets off the phone with you, they're going to send you a message, and they're going to let you know how much you have made their day. I don't know how many times I've got messages like these that oh my gosh, you connected me at the perfect time. Here's where I'm at right now. And then I lift them, try and get them to that next level of mindset, of activities, the things that they need to do to move forward and grow. And when you do that, people thrive, and they are so grateful, and they really appreciate that. So light people up with your passion, with your being the example. That's got to be the biggest one, is be the example. of, when you're asking somebody to do something, you want to be doing this yourself. And of course, again, encourage. So when the chips are down, you're still that beam of light for people, that beacon of light. And there's days where you don't feel like you're that beacon of light. We're all there. We all been there. We understand. Sometimes you just don't have those days. Well, those are days that you don't talk to people, okay? Or go out for a walk and listen to something that's going to inspire you so you can go back in the game and not bring this with you. I get we're all human beings, but we have to learn to control some of the things that we go through in our mind, in our activities, and what's going on in our lives, and be that beacon of light for people, and just go out there and support people. And in return, you get a lot. Trust me, you gain a lot in return of you wouldn't say the teachers are usually the best students. So we learn when we teach. We do. So that's the final one of the 6 E's. I hope you got some value out of that. And this session, go back and listen to it over and over and over so you can work on that on a personal note.
Folks, it's very interesting, but the information we're sharing with you here is worth millions of dollars. You may not realize it, but we have been living the results of what we're sharing with you here. So I know that I may sound like I'm overselling this. I am not. This information is really, really important. Now we're going to talk about the 6 principles to build a strong team. And I know you know this because I know you've mentioned Tammy and I talking about these aspects very often. Number 1 is unity, right? The unity is very important. There's prosperity and unity. And when there are conflict within leaders, within organization, it sabotages. It's like a cancer. The cancer will kill the cells. So the fact here is unity is very important, is what would kill the cancer. To unite, very important. Tammy, I'll do the first 3. You do the last 4. Okay, the last 3.
Yeah.
Number 2 is duplication. Duplication is absolutely critical. When we were training on following up and third-party credibility, I was telling you that when you start seeing your downline utilizing third-party credibility or following up, your income will grow significantly. The more people in your team duplicate, the more money you make. I don't want to make this about the money. I want you to have an understanding of the importance of duplication. It's the foundation to have success and to have wealth. Very, very important. If people don't duplicate into your business, there's no money, there's no growth, there's no future. And number 3 is to encourage a duplication. You need to show congruency. People need to see familiarity. I know when I see familiarity, I'm attracted towards it. If I'm in a country and I go somewhere that I'm familiar with because I know what I'm going to eat there based on what I've seen, and let's say in Canada, whatever, it says, oh, I know what I'm getting there. I'm attracted to this, right? Because I'm safe, or you know what I mean? It's an expression, right? Congruency is important. When you do a presentation, why am I so adamant about not changing the PowerPoints? Because when you change the PowerPoint, you break the duplication process. You break the consistency, the congruency of delivering the same message. Again, that's the reason, again, why we've had so much success is because I've been adamant about unity, about duplication, about congruency. That's the foundation. Back to you, Tammy.
Yes, and effective communication. Make sure that your team members are always plugged into a communication platform, a team platform. That is so important. People need to know what's going on. So if that's not being duplicated, then within the organization, I mean, people become lost because if you don't duplicate getting people plugged in, then the next level, they're not plugged in, and then they're not plugging their people in, and nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows when the meetings are, when the events are going on, and it's hard to build an organization when nobody knows what's going on, right? So effective communication is absolutely critical. Do you have your people plugged in? That's the big question. I know that you guys are plugged in, but are your team members plugged in? That's the big thing. So every single person that's on this Zoom session or on Facebook Live, are your people plugged in? Because if they're not here listening to this, then they're not learning. They're not learning and they're not growing. Okay, so effective communication is absolutely critical. Recognition and team incentives. That people, adults will die to get recognized, really. And so it's important to create that recognition within the team. Any type of activity that your team members are doing, make sure they get recognized. That is absolutely critical. I mean, it can be done through just recognizing them on a platform. It can be done through flyers. It could be done through giving your personals a little gift. You know, especially at the beginning, people appreciate that. Imagine if you gave them a book called Developing the Leader Within. You know, it's not a big investment. If they've done something spectacular in their first steps of growing, and they're showing up on the calls, they're inviting guests to the events, and they're signing up new customers or new partners, recognize their efforts, okay? And that's important. And then, of course, promote for the next event. We're always promoting for the next event. It seems like a lot of stuff is done on social media now. I mean, in Zoom sessions, but people are starting to do physical events now. We're doing physical events now. So people are coming out, people are excited, and people want to do more when they're in an environment that's thriving. So it's important to be doing these on a regular basis. Lead by example if you want others to lead.
Now, the last slide we want to talk about is a little video. We'll finish with a little inspirational video. And what's important, I want you to focus on the message, not necessarily who delivers the message. I want you to focus on the message that you can be anything if you just decide. That statement I just made right now, if you just make a decision, it's amazing the transformation that you will see into your life. Everything can change for you once you made a decision to do so. So let's watch that little video. Hope you enjoy it. I really did.
I very often watch a lot of young people sort of meander around without any idea about why they're doing what they're doing. I mean, to want and to be ambitious and to want to be successful is not enough. That's just desire. To know what you want, to understand why you're doing it, to dedicate every breath in your body to achieve. If you feel you have something to give, if you feel that your particular talent is worth developing, is worth caring for, then there's nothing you can't achieve.
Do something you're very passionate about.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, and you don't really love it, you're going to give up.
So how do you start a business with no money under the worst conditions that your backer doesn't want to give you a dime? What do? Get ready for a lot of rejection, and at the same exact time, do the things others don't want to do. Do what's necessary, do what it takes, no matter what it is, and try not to hurt anybody along the way.
I worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's what I cared about. I cared about solving problems, being successful. Anytime an obstacle presented itself, I used it to my advantage, made it work. And I never heard the word no. If I heard the word no, it meant maybe. Then I made maybe yes.
Take what you've got. Your assets are your energy. Your assets are your willingness to just not be told no. The harder it is, the tougher it is, the bigger the challenge to get in, the bigger the opportunity behind. The opportunities behind are endless.
I really, really believe in getting rich. I believe in people creating wealth for themselves.
Develop the habits. You've got the brain power, you've got the energy, but develop the habits of success.
If you know exactly what you want to be, you need to spend as much time with people that are actually that already.
We become our standards in many ways. If you are surrounded by B players or average performers, and that is your standard, then your mindset will operate at the standard that is offered to you by the people around you. I mean, we do become our social orbit.
Don't allow anyone, friend, family, acquaintance, teachers, whoever it is, don't allow anyone to tell you that what you are dreaming for yourself and your family is not possible. It is possible. Don't be one of those people 20 years from now are going to be walking around in a 9-to-5 job, miserable and angry and bitter.
What fear is stopping you in your tracks and burning the soles of your feet? What is conquering that fear, whatever it is, that keeps you from being what the Creator intended for you? What if you could unleash everything great in your life? Would you do it? Would you say yes to that?
You will receive from the world who you become. But the doorway to success, I suggest to you, swings inward, not outward. And the best way to have a game-changing life, and the best way to have a world-class lifestyle, and the best way to change the world is to change yourself. I mean, we get from life who we become. To have the results of a game changer, you need to start thinking and behaving like a game changer. And that means thinking like a game changer, populating your mindset with the best books, with the best ideas, with the best conversations, behaving in ways that most people don't behave. Again, you want to have the results very few people have, you've got to start doing things that very few people do. Turn off the television, delete the naysayers, stop gossiping and start producing, eat better food, run longer runs, shift from a focus on what's not working to a focus on what's working. I mean, you really want to install a whole new series of mindsets and a whole new series of rituals that very few people are doing.
In the end, luck plays a very important part in how successful you are, but the harder you work and the longer you work, the luckier you're going to be.
I've always thought that each person invented himself for whatever reasons, through whatever circumstance, through whatever he has gone through, that we are each a figment of our own imagination.
So, folks, in closing, it's all about you deciding. If you decide, that could mean everything. You have to decide. Tammy and I are here. We're going to keep sharing. We're going to keep delivering. We're going to keep trying. But we know where we're going. We're moving forward. We keep pushing forward, regardless of the crap that comes across. Don't care. Keep moving forward. Don't let the world tell you who you are and what you are worth. You're worth a lot more than you realize. So we hope that you got some tangible knowledge from what we share here today, because what we share with you, as simple as it may be, it is the foundation to everything. And I assure you that those of you that deliver on those principles will completely change your life, and people that are part of your ecosystem will benefit from this life. Back to you, Tammy.
Did you read that? 85% of the millionaires, we can say billionaires now, that are created are self-made. Are self-made. Develop the leader within. Do what it takes yourself. People will follow. And eventually you'll inspire somebody enough to step up and lead. So I highly recommend that we got, how many months do we have left of this year? Spend time developing you. And 2024 is going to be a record-breaking year for you.
So we have 3 more months before the year end. 3 more months. Push hard. And you're going to see that your new year may look very, very promising. 3 more months. Keep pushing. Don't let the small distractions, and I do call them small, get in the way of what can be. So I hope this training was helpful tonight. We are grateful for you always. And thank you for the wonderful feedback that we got here today on the meeting, on the chat. And we really appreciate that. Also on Facebook Live, thank you for your wonderful feedback. Really appreciate you folks. And as we do these trainings, if anything resonates with you, please feel free to share it. It means a lot to us. It may actually means a lot to anyone watching or even noticing a message you might have been posting in line to what we're covering. So everybody have yourself a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. And thank you so much for attending. And we'll see you guys soon. Bye for now. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.